I was the kid that would never raise my hand in class, who would always give their presentation last, who would go up to present and forget their lines because all the butterflies in my stomach would be there and I'd feel like I'm gonna throw up all morning. I was that shy kid. I am that introvert at heart. That is who I am. So if that is you, I relate to you very much. Friends, how we doing? My name is Jesse. Welcome back to Male Nurse Mentor. You guys saw the title of this video. This video is for the shy kids. It's for those introverts. It's for these individuals. I am like you. I'm here on YouTube. I speak to a camera, so it may not look like it. Sometimes it looks like I'm pretty talkative. But the fact is, I'm very much an introvert. All my energy is gained from being alone, being away from people. And at the same time, I'm not the best speaker. I'm not the best at talking. I don't like hearing my voice. But I came on here because I think it's important for people to understand my nursing journey. And hopefully as people understand it, I can inspire others to maybe do the same thing, right? In this video, I do want to tell you a couple things and see if any of it hopefully is helpful to you. The first thing I want to tell you is a little bit about my story, right? Being this shy kid, being this introvert, and becoming a nurse. The next thing I want to tell you is where I'm at now in my career. So again, it'll be part of my story. And then one thing I do want to answer in this video is, does being shy impact your ability to be a nurse? So we'll talk about it. And then towards the end of the video, I'll give you guys a handful of tips. If you're a shy kid, an introvert, if this is you as an individual, what you can do, what I've done in my career that has helped me up to this point. And just before I fully begin, friends, if you ever want to try to reach me, get a hold of me, you can comment down below. I'll get back to you. But the best place to reach me is on Instagram. Send me a DM, hit me with a follow. I'm always posting, whether it's stories daily for motivation, inspiration, but I also post reels that are helpful, some of them that are shorts here on YouTube. The first thing I want to tell you guys is a little bit about my story and then where I am now in my career. So like I started the video, I was always that shy kid. When I've actually sat down and journaled and thought about my childhood, I've realized, wow, like I was actually very shy, very much an introvert. It was always scary to speak to women, always hard to make like new friends or go up in class and speak. And I realized all my energy was actually from being alone. I wouldn't hang out with a lot of kids after school, and that just was me, right? I was not a loner, I was in the crowd, but I was also not someone speaking a lot. I was just more of a follower. When I look back and I think to my time in grade school, I never raised my hand. I never wanted to contribute. I never wanted to answer questions because I would feel like, a wrong answer was like the worst thing in the world. And being called out for whatever reason, right? An instructor picking me out of the crowd and, hey, Jesse, what is the answer to this? Or, Jesse, tell us your thoughts on this. And, my face would get all red. I would blush. I'd hate that feeling. I've always leaned into that, being shy, being introvert. So I know what it feels like. It's never been easy, even all the way up into my professional career. It's never been easy. I've just continued to just work my way through. You guys will find out, as you become a nurse, one of the prerequisites is a speaking class. For me, I tried to challenge myself and I took individual public speaking. I would rehearse my lines, rehearse my presentations over and over again for like hours before I'd actually go that day and present. And I've always been this way. Like I've just always hated public speaking, but it's never stopped my ability to becoming a nurse. And there are moments where I lean into it and maybe have to practice more than other people. As I've gotten used to speaking to this camera, making this YouTube videos, making numerous videos, I've gotten a lot more comfortable. Maybe it looks like I don't have an issue with it, but I do. And I know I do because now in my current role, I feel it again as I'm being challenged, right? Because in the very beginning, right, I'll let you guys know, this was me through grade school. I was that shy kid. I hated public speaking the whole entire time. Never got easier. Took public speaking class, hated it, but I had to do it anyway because I was just driven to become a nurse. In my actual nursing career, again, I was a shy kid. I was the introvert. Speaking was always the hardest thing for me. There's some tips I'm going to give you guys towards the end of the video. Tips that have helped me, things that I've noticed for me that have helped me kind of get past this. And hopefully it gives you guys something hopeful as well. For me, friends, in my career, one of the biggest ways I was challenged was working in corrections, working around the inmate population who is often very direct, quite aggressive, confrontational. It kind of forced me to then also be willing to face that, willing to actually become someone a lot more confident in my speaking ability and being able to communicate, right? Firmly, consistently, and to active listen at the same time, all just kind of bundled in this thing here. But yes, corrections was one of the places where I started as a new grad. I was forced to kind of face this head on. I remember, speaking to inmates as they came in with handcuffs, getting arrested in county jail. And, I would stutter because they would be aggressive and confrontational. I allowed that, right? Like as I was slowly gaining confidence, my stuttering went away, my confidence in my speaking ability increased, and it was just a learning curve, right? You're gonna start here, probably not gonna sound very confident, probably gonna be pretty bad at it, but just day after day through repetition, I got better, right? I got more confident. I was able to actually speak to these individuals, which aren't easy individuals to speak to. And that's just kind of my journey there, right, in my nursing career. And it became like nothing. I started speaking like the patient inmate population, like it was nothing. And that then gave me confidence to speak to anybody, right? I will say now I work as a nurse consultant. This has been like my passage. I started in the county jail, worked in the prison setting. Now I work as a nurse consultant. I've been facing, a lot of discomfort in terms of the rooms that I'm in and the things I have to say, how I have to speak. This is like my next level up, and I feel it. I feel like I'm that shy kid, that introvert once again, right? Giving these presentations in grade school, because oftentimes in these rooms, I'm around executive line staff, right? Medical directors, chief nurse executives, regional chief nurse executives, nurse managers, nurse supervisors, directors of nursing, all these individuals, a lot of doctors, right? A lot of people with a lot more experience than me. And when I go in these rooms, there's barely any floor nursing staff, right? It's just all upper level executives. And I have to speak to these people, speak in these rooms. So I'm finding this is like my next personal challenge, right? So just know it doesn't get any easier for me. It's something that I'm still actively working on myself. That'll always be me, right? So I gotta be giving myself grace. Being that shy kid, being that introvert at heart is who I am. And I just gotta give myself grace and just not stop in my pursuit to achieving my goals, trying to make the money I want to make, the impact I want to make, and just challenge myself and accept it, right? So I think that's a good amount for me. If you have any questions about my journey, anything specific, leave a comment down below. I'll get back to you. But as far as the question that I want to answer, does being shy impact your ability to be a nurse? I think someone asked it some time ago and I answered it in the comment section. But as you saw through my journey, it didn't really impact my ability to be a nurse. Not everyone that's a nurse is super social. You're gonna find like what feels most natural to you. Don't work and operate in a way that like it's draining you all day long because you're just putting on this mask. Operate in a way that feels authentic to you. People are gonna appreciate it more. So if you are somewhat more of a shy person, more of an introvert, don't like speaking to people, just lean into that. Just be kind and professional. It's gonna be one of the tips I give you guys here in a second. But just to answer that question broadly, being shy, being an introvert, it does not impact your ability to become a nurse. You're gonna be a nurse. You're gonna do it. If you're on this course, make it happen. All right, friends. So we're making it now to the latter part of the video. In this section here, I have a couple of tips, and these tips are gonna be some that I found helpful in my own journey, things that I recommend as well for the people that are like me, kind of moving in your nursing career, right? If you're shy, you're an introvert, what do you do? How do you operate? What are some helpful tips? So I got you guys. So this first one I have here, friends, is just focus on being professional first. I kind of mentioned a little bit about this. What I mean here is think about what it means to be a good nurse and do your job, and the rest will follow. So be professional, focus on that, just doing your job. Be authentic to yourself as how you operate as a nurse, how you move, how you discuss things, how you speak to people, how you take information. All of this should be authentic to you. You know what being unprofessional looks like, and it could be talking too much, being angry, oversharing. Just do the basics. No, you already know what your job is. You went through all of nursing school to understand. And then when you go through orientation as a new grad, they're gonna again tell you what your job is. You're gonna get a chance to practice it for a couple weeks, and then they're gonna let you go on the floor. So just remember what your actual job is, be professional, and just do that, right? Focus on the essentials. That's one way you can kind of operate as a nurse in your career if you tend to be shy or more of an introvert. The next thing I wrote here is if you're not talkative, just be kind. This will focus on how you make the people feel, and then smiling is an easy example of this. So just being kind. So there's being professional, right, which is just the basics. You're doing your job and you get the job done. But the next one is just be kind, right? Just focus on kindness, kind gestures, acts of kindness. Just focus on that. Again, you know what this means. You smile a little bit more at people. You active listen when people are speaking to you. You care what they're saying, right? You display a sense of care, when they're speaking to you. You just do these little things, right? Maybe you're not a super social nurse and you have a social patient. Just kind of nod your head and just kind of active listen, right? Listen to what they're saying, give a response here or there. You know what it means to be kind. So just focus on that, as opposed to focus on being super talkative, super social. One thing that I've noticed in my own day-to-day life, you can't really have two people that are talkative, right? Because they both want to talk. If you find yourself with a patient who's talkative, staff that are talkative, it actually helps that you're not like that. Because, in communication, someone speaks, someone has to listen. Throughout my whole life, friends, I've actually found it quite easier to be around extroverts that like to talk and are social all the time, because they just want to be heard. So the staff that like to speak all the time, they're probably going to gravitate towards you just naturally. I know I'm getting off into like a little side tangent here about this, but that's you being kind. You're active listening to what the person's saying. So you're going to find yourself seeing these patients that are very talkative, and then you, as a non-talkative person, you're just going to listen, and they're going to feel heard, and they're going to appreciate that, and then they're going to think you were kind. So for this next tip, friends, I want you guys to notice the easy people to talk to. In my own nursing career, oftentimes this is like elderly patients. For me, it's more of like a motherly type figure, right? Like an older woman who's probably a mother type of patient. And then oftentimes patients that are like you, right? Like the bros. I often found it quite easy to speak to those people. So find those patients that are easy to speak to, and you're gonna notice it. And notice that feeling, right? Like you feel like you can ask them more questions, you can be a lot more comfortable around them. Notice who those people are, and then practice with those patients. You have this like lower defense when you're speaking to these people, so take the opportunity, speak to them, practice saying other things, practice joking with them, practice being social, right? And then over time, it just gets easier, not just with this patient population, but with other people as well. And this leads into my next point, is that it just naturally gets easier. I wrote down, as you speak to several patients, for example, if you speak to 12 patients a day, let's say you work 5 days a week, that's 60 patients. If you see 20 patients a day, you work 3 days a week, 60 patients, right? That's 60 for the week, and that's a lot of practice. So my point here is that it naturally just gets easier over time. And I've noticed this in my career, kind of like how I was mentioning earlier, and with my experience in the correctional setting, being a new grad nurse, and then speaking to the inmate patient population. At first it was hard, right? Because they're aggressive at times, intimidating, confrontational, and I'm new to the system. I'm new to the department. I don't really know the information. So I wasn't matching their energy. For me, it was hard at first. Over time, it got easier because I was just showing up to work every day. I was seeing like 20 inmates every single day, worked 5 days a week. It's like 100 inmates, right, for the whole week that I would see. And things over time just get easier through practice and repetition. This is maybe where you're starting, right? You feel like you're not in a place confidently enough to be able to do this as a nurse, right? Speak to people. But just by going and running through the motions, being professional, being kind, listening to when people are speaking to you, over time it just gets easier, and you're gonna find yourself being able to do this, right? Speak to patients authentically with your own style, and you're gonna worry about it less. Until probably you get a job promotion, and now you're around higher level executive staff that make you feel very intimidated and nervous, and but that's a whole nother thing. But it's just one thing I've noticed. Maybe you'll notice it too. So that's it for that one. And for my very last point, friends, let yourself struggle. It may never feel easy. I'm like this, but continue to embrace the challenge by getting into bigger roles as your career progresses, right? Allow yourself to struggle. For me, at heart, I will always be the shy kid naturally as an individual, I'll always be an introvert. It's just who I am at my core. Because of that, you could flip that weakness into a strength. But in order to do that, you have to allow yourself to struggle. You have to allow yourself to make mistakes as you're speaking to people, right? Go to make these presentations and it doesn't go very well, right? You have to get over that fact, because practice does make perfect. Repetition does help. And the only way to go through repetitions and practice is by putting yourself in these positions to fail, right? Potentially, or not do as well. And then after you run through it, maybe it doesn't go well, maybe you feel like you failed, you can look back and think why. If nothing else, friends, just by doing it again and again, it just gets better, it gets easier, you gain the confidence. It's pretty much exposure therapy. That's what I'm finding out is helping me now as I'm navigating these next bigger, more intimidating rooms. It's just by running through the motions of being in these rooms over and over and over again, right? The patients that used to make me nervous, speaking to them over and over and over again, right? I allowed myself to struggle, feel the feelings that I'm feeling, and then I guess just give them space. And then over time, it just got easier. But the key here is when you hit that wall of uncomfortability, don't turn the other way and go back. Sit with that feeling, sit in it, sit in it, sit in it, and then over time it'll get lower and you can go through it. It's just what I've learned in my own career. And these are some tips, friends. These are all of them. This is all that I had. Hopefully some of it is helpful. If there's any questions, you want to reach me, you know where to find me. Comment down below or find me on Instagram DMs. I am that shy kid, I'm that introvert. I relate to you guys, but just know that just as I got here, and this is where I'm at now in my career, you can as well. So allow yourself to struggle, face that discomfort, and over time, friends, time will do the rest. Repetition will do the rest. I'll see you guys on the next video, friends. You know where to find me. I'm always around. See you then.